This is Gemara in Kesubos Daf Nun and Tes. So we're learning for this month. The month of Elul has been generously sponsored as Lezchot Neshama of Reyzel Basar Meir Mertashem. Reyzel Basar Meir should be oila to higher in place in Gan Eden Shalmaila via all the learning each and every day. We pick it up on the bottom of Nun Ches Mebeis. First of all, an apology that we're getting this year up so late. We usually try to have the Shabbos shiurim up before Shabbos. Unfortunately, this week we were not able. So we pick up on the bottom of Nun Ches Mebeis, in which the Gemara quotes the Mishnah. We're in the middle of discussing the obligations of husband to wife and wife to husband, whether they are contingent upon different factors, etc. And the Mishnah taught us about if the husband is makdish, if he consecrates the maisi yadehem, that which his wife makes. And then the Mishnah continued and said, what about the meiser, the excess, the extra items that his wife makes? We had a machlokes. Meir said on those items it is hektish. Rav Yochanan and Sander said it is chulin. So asks the Gemara on Meir's opinion, let's get the highlighting up. There it is. One second, we're having highlighting difficulties. One more time. Emas kadosh. When does it become hektish according to Rav Meir? Says the Gemara, it's machlokes. Ravu Shmuel, Tamri Tavayu, Moisar, Lacher Misa, Kadosh. Rav and Shmuel both say that the excess, when does it become hektish? When does it become consecrated lebeis hamikdash? After his wife dies. At that moment, the husband is yerish, the husband inherits all the possessions of his wife. And therefore, in such a scenario, that is the moment when they become kodesh, but not during her lifetime. Whereas Rav Rava Amar Moiser Mechayim Kodesh says Rav Rava, no, any excess that she makes above that which she needs to support herself becomes hektish even while she is still alive. So says the Gemara, 8 lines from the bottom. The first one line is Have bar Rababa. Rababa was wondering, B'mai, with what case are we discussing? If we're discussing where the husband supports his wife, where the husband gives her food, and as well he gives her a ma'av kesef l'tzarchel for her other needs, as we'll see later on in the Mishnah Daf Sadi Dalad Beis. So what is the reason of the Mandama that says that after her death, only then does it become Kaddish? If he is doing what he needs, if he is giving her money, if he is giving her food, then what's the halacha? The halacha is he should be getting that which he earns. If he should be getting that which he earns, then the excess already during her lifetime should become Kodesh. The Ella says the Gemara, Kishayin ma'alam azaynis. What's the case? 4 lines at the bottom. He is not supporting her. V'loy ma'alam kesef, and he's not giving her food, and he's not giving her the obligatory money that she needs for her expenses. So then the question is the other way. So what's the reason of Rav Rava that says during her lifetime it becomes Kodesh? If he's not giving to her, he should not be getting her things that which he makes. So answers the Gemara, 2 lines to the bottom. Really the case is in which he is feeding her. So then the question is, according to Rav and Shmuel, why is it only Lachar Misa? But however, so we have a middle ground. He's giving her food, but he's not giving her the money that she needs for her own expenses. So therefore, Rav and Shmuel Savri, Rav and Shmuel hold Tiknu, the Takana D'Rabban. As we turn over to Nun Tesam and Aleph, was Mizaynais Tachas Maisi Odel, that he gives her money and in exchange he gets her earnings. Uma Kesef Tachas Maisar, and when he gives her money for her to buy whatever she needs, that's when he gets the excess of that which she makes, and therefore, since he didn't give her the money for her expenses, the excess belongs to her. And then Rav and Shmuel said the husband can only consecrate, the husband can only be makdish, that which his wife makes in excess after her death. Whereas Rav Rava, 3 lines to the bottom, disagrees and holds Tiknu Mezaynais Tachas Meiser. Rav Rava holds that the Mezaynais is in exchange for the excess. Uma Kesef Tachas Maisi Odeho. And therefore, Kivan the Avlam Ezaini, since at the end of the day he is giving her food, Meiser Didei Have, therefore he gets her excess. And that's the reason Rav Rava holds that the excess does become hektish during her lifetime. So it says the Gemara very good that we split up that the case is referring to in which he's makdish, which he supports her with money, but he does not give her the extra money that she needs. He supports her with food, but he does not give her the extra money that she needs. So it says the Gemara b'maika miflikis. What is the root of this machlokes? Meaning, what's the machlokes of Rava and Rav and Shmuel? We're learning a fundamental machlokes. Whether he gets her earnings from the mezainis and he gets the excess from the ma'akesef, the money, or vice versa. So where does that come from? So says the Gemara, Rav and Shmuel, Meir, Savar, the first opinion holds, midi d'shchiach, midi d'shchiach. We go that which is common for that which is common. And therefore it's common for him to give his wife mezainis food, and therefore he gets the normal items that she makes. Whereas it's not as common for him to give her the ma'akesef. Therefore, he does not get the meiser. Umar Savar was Rav Rava midi dekayitz and midi dekayitz. Rav Rava goes, no, it goes by a fixed amount, and therefore the silver ma, the meya kesef, is a fixed amount, and therefore he gets the main items that she makes, which is a set amount of the 5 slayim a week. So explains the Gemara, that is the machlokes between Rav and Shmuel and Rav Rava. What is the reason that he gets the Meiser Yodel? What's the reason that he gets the Meiser? So I asked the Gemara, Meisvei, take the percentage that says Meiser Yodel. Ask the Gemara, Rav Rava, we have an explicit brisa that says they gave her the mezainis in exchange for what? And he gives her the mezainis in exchange for Meiser Yodel earnings. Answers the Gemara, Ema, you should say, Tachas Meiser Yodel. That he gives her the food in exchange for the excess of her Meiser Yodel. You throw in that extra word, and it fits according to Rav Rava. So it flips the Gemara, and the Gemara says, Tashema, I made a nice lama kesef. We have a Mishnah. The Mishnah later on, this is that same Mishnah that we just quoted this week we're going to learn in a few days. The Mishnah from Sadi Samach Dalet, that if he does not give her a ma kesef, he does not give her this food, money litzarcha for her needs. Meiser Yodel shalah. The Mishnah says explicitly the Meiser Yodel earnings belong to her. So we see clearly that the correlation is between her Meiser Yodel and the ma'akesef that he has to give her. Answers the Gemara, Ema, you should say Meiser Yodel shalah. Again, we throw in that word Meiser. As the Gemara Ba'ala Katani, but we learned on that Mishnah, Ma'i Oisala, what does she have to do for him? Mishgal Chamish Slayim, Shtei B'Yehuda, he has to give her the value of 5 Slayim, which is Shtei B'Yehuda, Yehuda, of a war of thread in Yehuda. So what do we see? We see that's the set amount. That's not the Meiser. Answers the Gemara, Achi Kamer Meiser Yodel, Kama Have, the Meiser Yodel, how much does he have to make? Tiliyeda, so that you know. Meiser Dida Kama Mishkal Chamishlayim Shesi B'Yehuda Shinasar Salim B'Galil. Says the Gemara, a very gishmak answer. You only can know what the excess is if you know what the base amount is. And we continue discussing this machlokes, which we began with today of Meir and Rabbi Yochanan B'Tzalner, whether he's able to be makdish, whether he's able to consecrate the meiser, the excess of his wife's earnings. So comes along Amar Shmuel, about 20 lines down. The first line is Shmuel, Halacha Rabbi Yochanan B'Tzalner. Ask the Gemara, really, Amar Shmuel, Achi, does Shmuel really say this? That you're not able to be makdish an item that doesn't come into the world, but Tanan. But we learned in the Mishnah, so it makes a neder. If a woman says, I'm making a kainim, I'm making a neder to your mouth, the halacha is, he does not have to be made for that neder. Why? Because the neder does not work. There's Rabbi Kiva, Aimer, Yafer, he has to be made for the neder. Why? Because maybe she's going to make more than that which is necessary. Whereas if Yecham and Nuri Amar, Yafer, he has to be annulling it. Why? Shamigar Shana, maybe he'll divorce her. And then he's going to be forbidden to remarry her. Va'amer Shmuel, and here's the critical line, Halacha, Rav Yochanan ben Nuri. So what do we see? We see that Shmuel, you just told me you're passing Rav Yochanan and Sandler. We see in this price you're passing Rav Yochanan and Nuri. We see clearly that what does Shmuel hold? That he when would a neder take effect? Only when he divorces her, after Gerushin. So what does he clearly hold? He clearly holds you cannot be makdish an item which no longer is, he clearly holds you can yes be makdish an item, and the only reason why it's going to be after Gerushin, because you can yes be makdish the item, even though it's not yet in this world. Answers the Gemara, no, it's referring to the excess, not to the main amount. Ask the Gemara of so why does it Shmuel just say we pass like Rechem and Nuri with regard to the Adafa, with regard to the excess? Asks the Gemara, Inami, or he should have said, Ein halacha kitanikama. We don't pass like Tanikama. Inami halacha kirav kiva. So why does Shmuel say that we pass in straight like Rav Yochanan and Nuri? That clearly seems to imply that he goes all the way with Yochanan and Nuri, that it's only going to be chal. It's going to be chal right away, and therefore we have to wait till she gets divorced for her to get it. Elam Rav Yosef. So therefore it says Rav Yosef, we can answer Rav Shmuel. Koinama is ka'amrit. You're asking a question on Shmuel. The fact that Shmuel passes like Rav Yochanan and Sounder, and here he's passing Rav Yochanan and Nuri. Rav Yochanan and Nuri is in a case of neder, a case of koinama. Shiny koinama is the ma'isa bears the chavera elav on the magnet davar shabel elav. Peiros are going to be, koinama is going to be different because one has the ability to make his friend's fruits usher to himself. Therefore, he's able to make something usher that did not come yet into the world. Why? Makes sense. You can make your friend's produce forbidden to you. Just like you can make your fruit usher to your friend. Therefore, yes, never stop. But says the Gemara, but the same way, you're not able to make something usher to your friend if it's not yet in this world. As you cannot make your friend's items usher on your friend. So answers the Gemara, Ella Amar Rav Yehuna B'Reid Rav Yeshua. Again, Ella pointing out that we have a new teretz. Rav Yehuna B'Reid Rav Yeshua says, you know what the case is? By Meretz, Yikachu, Yadai Lo Yisayan. Rav Yochanan and Nuri say, when are you able to answer the future Ma'is Yodel of the wife? Is when she says, let my hands, Yodai, should be koinam lo Yisayim to their creator. That the items themselves should be also like a koinam. The Yodayim is neo ba'ilam. So says the Gemara, and the Gemara creates a novel answer. The whole question began because it was something that's not in the world. Because that which his wife makes is ein ba'ilam. But answers the Gemara, no. The way, the mechanics by which she makes this neder is that she says that her yordayim, her hands are hektish, and her hands, of course, are yes in this world. Ask the Gemara, but if she says this, does it work? Could she really make her hands kadosh? Her hands are obligated. Anytime she has a shibud on something, you can't negate, you can't get rid of the fact that you're obligated via a neder. Answers the Gemara, no. She says, when and if we become divorced, then my hands should be to Shamayim. Ask the Gemara, there should be some physical impossibility. How can we have something that right now is not kodesh, but at a later date it is? Answers the Gemara, Amar Rav Eloi, Alam Eloi, what's the big deal? What's your question? If someone says this field that I'm selling to you should become kodesh when I buy it back from you, Miloi Kadsha, of course it is. So what's bothering you? Rav Yirmiyah continues and says, what do you mean? 8 lines to the bottom, me, dummy, what's the comparison? There you have the power to make it akdish right now, so you can do it after the field is sold. But over here, in the case of the married woman, she, of course, does not have the power to effect the divorce. You know, this is more comparable. It's comparable to if someone says the field that I already sold to you should become akdish when I buy it back. Which, of course, in that case, the loikacha doesn't work, because it's not in your power necessarily to buy it back. So, Masler Rapapa, 3 lines to the bottom, he has further, Midami Azav Gufo Beiris Biyadalakeh. You can't ask in that case. Because over there, the buyer has the item, the lamb, the guf, and as well the peiros. However, in our case, gufa biyadu, but in our case, her own guf, her own body, her hands are to herself. Even though it's true the husband gets that which she earns, but her physical hands are her own. Halodamio says, no, this is really comparable. If someone says to his friend to be turned over to Nundesam and Bay, someone says to his friend, someone says to his friend that this field that I gave to you as a mashkin, when I redeem it from you, that would work. So of course in this case it is biyada, it's in your power. So Maslar Rav Shisha Breder Ravidi 1 second bidami awesome biyada live daisi, you could yes redeem it. Halchem biyada like Garish Hatz with the same question. It's only comparable to a case in which someone says this field that is yours for 10 years. Sadazu Shemesh Cheni L'chal Eser Shanim, that I gave to you as a mashkin again for 10 years. When I redeem it from you, it will become Kadesh. The Kadsha, yes, works. Again, ask the Gemara further. For the first 10 years, he can redeem it. That's again always the same question, boiling back to the detail that she cannot effect the divorce herself. Elam Ravashi, Kainamos, Kahamrid. Again, you're asking from Kainamos, shiny Kainamos, Dekocha, Agov Ninu. Kainamos are different because the actual body itself is Kodesh. As the Gemara, the Rava, and the Gemara explains, these are unique cases. Says the Gemara, so why don't we say the Ishbim Kaddish right now? Answers the Gemara, final Teret, Almua, Rabbana L'Shibuda Debal, the Rabbana made the shibud of the husband on her items that she makes. Why? So that they should not become kodesh right now. So lengthy give and take, but that is our final teretz. And we begin the next Mishnah. Says the Mishnah, continuing the theme of the Kesuba, what the husband has to do to the wife, the wife has to do to the husband. Says the Mishnah, these items that the woman has to do for her husband. She grinds off and she bakes. She does his laundry. She cooks for him. She nurses his children. She has to make his bed. And she works with wool for the husband. So says the Mishnah, does she always have to do all these items for her husband? No. If she brings in one maidservant into the marriage, then she doesn't have to grind, bake, or do the laundry. If she brings in two maids, now she doesn't cook, she does not nurse the child. She brings in three maids, she doesn't have to make the beds right now. She doesn't have to work with wool. She brings in four maidservants into the marriage. She sits in her throne, she sits in her chair, and she does not have to do anything. Rav Eliezer Omer, no, he argues on everything. Even if she brings in 100 maidservants, still, a very big yisaid. Rav Eliezer teaches us we force her to do something. Why? Because Ba'atala doing nothing brings to Zima, brings to nothingness. Rashbag Omer says even if one makes a neder that his wife cannot do work, still, then he has to divorce her. You're not able to have such a scenario. Why? He doesn't say zima, he says shiamom, which means leading one to go crazy. A very important rule, the power of the importance, I should say, of ensuring always to be busy, always to be productive, or as the Mishnah is teaching us, that batala leads to zima, leads to shimam, rasha shagayim, becoming crazy. And we begin the Gemara, it says the Gemara, are you telling me the wife grinds the grain? You know what it means? Matchenes, she doesn't actually grind it with her own hands. It means she attends to the grinding with machinery, etc. Or the Mishnah means she uses a hand mill, so she actually grinds on her own. Says the Gemara, the Mishnah is like Rav Chia, the Tani Rav Chia. Says Rav Chia, no, a woman is only for a beauty in Isha Lebanim. Woman is only for children. Learn further in each other. Woman is only for adornment. If someone wants to make his wife's countenance beautiful, he'll be shano, klei pishon, she give her flax garment. If someone wants his daughter to be beautiful, to be white, we're getting a wonderful diet over here. Feed her young birds, and give her to drink chalav samach lepirka. You give her to drink milk as she comes of age. Different ways of tending to one's wife, attending to one's daughter. Let's finish up today with one more Gemara. We learned to the Mishnah that one of the obligations of a wife is to nurse the child. The Mishnah's not like Beishamai. The Tanya says Beishamai Nazir Shalahanik is Bena. If she makes a nether, she's not going to nurse the child. Beishamai Ayim Shomet is Dagmi Piv. Says Beishamai, she's allowed to. She's allowed to not nurse the child. We force her to nurse the child. Niskarsha continues the Raisa. If she got divorced, Niskarsha, then Einoi Kaifa. He cannot force her to nurse the child. V'maya Makira. But says the Gemara, says, quoting this Raisa, let's say the child knows the mommy. She's not going to nurse him anywhere else. Noisei law, schara v'kaifa menika, and the halacha is he has to pay her even after the divorce and force her to nurse the child. Mibnei hasakana. So to be a sakana. Why? Because the child's not going to eat from anyone else. So long and lengthy brisa, but the kashas from the beginning of the brisa. That seemingly the Mishnah said that a woman is obligated to nurse her child. Whereas Beishamai said no, she's able to make a neder not to. So the Mishnah is seemingly not like Beishamai. Says the Gemara, no, afilu teime Beishamai. The case of Beishamai is when she made a neder not to nurse the child, and the husband was mekayim the neder, and that's when she's allowed to do it. Because Beishamai old who nice and etza ben shinel, he caused it to himself. He's like putting a finger between his teeth, between her teeth. He brought it upon himself. He sells savri. He nice and etza ben shinel. Then no, she caused it upon herself. V'nifliga b'ksuba balma. Says the Gemara, why don't they argue with regard to ksuba in general? Why is Beishamai Beisilo arguing only with regard to nursing the child? And furthermore, Beishamai says Beishamai, you don't have to nurse the child explicitly in a brisa. Says the Gemara, clearly the Mishnah is not going with Beishamai because the Mishnah says there is an obligation to nurse the child, which is Beishamai disagrees. We'll pick it up from the end of the Amud in the next year. B'siyata Dishmai.